Okay, so it's my pleasure to introduce today Rachel Barnes, who's the Executive Director of the Northside Compassion Project. Rachel has a bachelor's in science in business management from NC State, and she's worked with several nonprofits and currently serves, as I said, as Executive Director of Northside Compassion Project. She also helped launch their signature fundraiser, which because of COVID hasn't happened for a couple of years, but it's called the Pot of Gold 5 Spring. So Miss Lynn, who I think has run 5Ks, maybe you can participate at some point. Maybe the rest of us can walk very slowly. Rachel is married with 2 young sons, and as we discussed earlier, is dealing with homeschooling as we know. So Rachel, you may take it away.
All right, thank you, Marie. I already feel comfortable with all of you because of the coffee and the caffeine chat. So we'll jump right in as we all have enjoyed whatever boost is your favorite today. I'm going to get started with my screen share here. As mentioned, we are Northside Compassion Project, and we began in 2013. Everybody's seeing just the slide by itself? So make sure we're good on that. Okay.
I think we see your controls at the top. The slide's kind of small. Are you guys seeing enough?
Let's see here. All right. Just a few quick slides. My other presentation wasn't caffeinated today, so we're going to use a few that I could gather for you. But as mentioned, the Northside Compassion Project began in 2013 with the purchase of this duplex on Maple Street. We took this home and we restored it to full glory after it was operating as a rental here in Knightdale. We used this duplex as transitional housing for families coming out of our 2 local partners, the Families Together and Raleigh Rescue Mission. Single parent families graduating from their programs are able to apply for residence and a short-term lease for 3 months to 12 months here in Knightdale. During this time, they are rebuilding their lives and they are taking their next steps toward their dream of a permanent home. We provide compassionate property management to them as they are learning to juggle all of the ins and outs of working a job, paying bills, helping their kids with their schooling, and getting back up on their feet. To date, we have enjoyed 22 neighbors coming through the Compassion Homes, and we have been able to walk with them by providing a fully furnished home that can meet all of their needs, help them save toward that next step, and provide stability in a way that their families have not been able to experience to that point. We do not have any requirements for them to maintain while they're living in the home, except for taking care of the home, paying their bills, and we work with them depending on how their employment is going so that they have that compassion piece within their life that gives them an added encouragement to keep going, to press on, and to keep pressing forward when the challenges pop up within daily family life. These are a few of the things that we provide within our compassion home. This is some of the family life that happens within the home. We provide maintenance to the home. We partner with organizations such as the Scouts, Affordable Professional Cleaning, and Affirm Photography to provide family pictures upon their move out as an added encouragement that they are loved, and that they are seen, and that we want their family to finish to cross the finish line successfully as they are moving past shelter insecurity. Throughout our work with shelter insecurity, our eyes have been open to the need to address food insecurity in our area. That was no more evident than in 2020 as we watched our neighbors in the margin struggle to make ends meet. This is the original Compassion Box located in the First Avenue parking lot of Northside Community Church. Some of you familiar with the area may remember this box. It was the first box, the Compassion Box 1.0, we like to call it, that served our community. It had, as you can see, areas where members of our team would fill it up and offer everything from non-perishable food to toiletry items, all based on donations that came in. This was on a fully stocked day back in spring of last year. And we use this box as an always open pantry available for anyone in the community to use it. This version of the box held up as long as it could during 2020, but as we know, the needs within our area grew substantially with the shutdown. Neighbors facing unemployment, as well as the uncertainties that came with how they were going to make it day to day, with the schooling that was brought home, with the work that was brought home, or in some cases, some of the mental health challenges that our neighbors were facing, impacted what they were able to do to meet their food and hygiene needs. So we saw this box work overtime to the point that the doors fell off and required an upgrade to the Compassion Box that is now on in the same spot that you see. Our expanded Compassion Box here operates with the same instructions that our former Compassion Box did. You are able to take what you need and bring what you can. But the Compassion Project took on management of the Compassion Box as we saw the food insecurity needs increase throughout the rest of last year and into this year as COVID and the pandemic inevitably impacted everything. We continue to see neighbors in the margin of our community need access 24/7 to what the Compassion Box provides. With the expanded box, we have a donation area along the bottom portion with instructions of both English and Spanish, as you can see in the slide here. And the upper portion is for for distribution of our items. We have quarterly food drives, which help supply our needs, but we also have community partnerships that I'll touch on in just a second. We have a restock team that refills the box every morning and every afternoon, making sure that every donation that comes in is used to help meet our neighbors' needs. We do a quality control with every item that comes in, making sure that the items placed into the Compassion Box and given to our community partners meet the same integrity that we would require in our own pantries within our homes. We do that by providing labels on both our snack bags and our individual items so that our neighbors who pick up these items have the simple encouragement that they're loved and that they're seen. We include logos on each piece for our non-readers so that they can understand that they got the item in this place off of First Avenue. Even if they don't know how to read the signage, they're still able to find the help that they need, especially for our younger neighbors who are just starting to understand. This is a shot of one of our more full inventory days. As you can see, these are some of the items that we strive to provide We have, of course, donation instructions that we share on social media and through other channels. But for the most part, we see these items most often: soups, canned fruits and vegetables, starches, and spaghetti items. Staples that sustain a family as they're trying to make ends meet. This is one of the nooks and crannies that we found at Northside Community Church. We've taken the challenge of the church not being able to open and have services, and we've used every square inch that we can find to process our donations and to get them to the places where they need to go. Speaking of the places that they need to go, our compassion box, of course, is limited to the shelving that you saw, as well as the 2 drawers for our hygiene items. And because of those limitations, we don't want any donation to go to waste, and we want every donation to matter in real time to the neighbors that need them. We also know that everyone is not going to necessarily stop by the compassion box if they're already using other channels. So for that, we've established community partnerships with Nightdale High School's Care Depot, the Community Helper Service Center farther down the street on First, Dreamcoat Ministries, and Zebulon United Methodist Mission House. These partnerships have allowed us to utilize every donation that comes in, knowing that there are some donations, such as, for instance, bags of rice, do not make it in the compassion box. People just come in, they bust it, and then it ends up being a mess. So real life has taught us that there are certain things that need to go other places. And some of these community partners have processes and distributions that allow for things like that packaging to go. Of course, you can see dried fruit and nut mix. We had a plentiful donation come in from that, so we divvied it up to several, but this is just one example here. One other way that we have partnered with within the community is providing hygiene and hope bags to our students at Nightdale High School and East Wake High School. We are grateful that we started this in 2019 and could continue it in 2020 so that we could continue the message to our younger neighbors that they are important and that there is help here and that we see them as they are working toward their future. We are grateful to be in this community. We are grateful to have established this compassion box and these channels so that we can meet the evident need that our community has to be fed and to be helped in real time. Our team is proud to be here. Our team is thrilled to be expanding what we can offer through hygiene items, through bags, snack bags especially, that are meeting the needs of children and students who are learning at home. We're grateful that we can provide enough space for hygiene items that are not covered by WIC. We are grateful that we are getting into back into face-to-face places where we can drop off more items, where we can see the volume be used on a weekly basis to relieve the burdens that our neighbors are experiencing. And so with that, our next steps are to take our inventory room, this is shots of our former inventory room, and expand it into an area that will open up in the summer of this year. As Northside Community Church has built a children's wing onto the back of their property that is opening up space on the lower level that the Compassion Project will be taking so that we can continue processing the volume that we see, as well as helping our community partners fill in the gaps of the neighbors and families that they're serving, as we continue filling in the gaps that we meet here in the compassion box. So I know that there may be a member here or there who may have to step away. So out of respect for your time, I kept it condensed today, but I want to leave any time here for any questions that you may have with this quick snapshot that I gave you of the Compassion Project here today.
So if we want to donate, it looked like you had the stickers on everything. Do you just put it in the box? Where do we bring donations then so they can get stickered?
Great question. Great question. All donations go in the bottom section. As you may have seen in the, let's see here. Let me go back a bit. As you may have seen in the picture with our, take you through the house. There we go. All right. As you can see on the bottom of this picture here, the donation area is the bottom section. We worked with our carpenter to ensure that that space is big enough for the boxes that are dropped off, as well as bags, because we see many families just pick up an extra bag of groceries and drop it off. So that gives plenty of space for us to pull it out of there and then process it. And then we label as we can. Things that go in the compassion box get labels. Things that go to our community partners do not get labels, because we know that they are taking care of that. We just add the extra help to their system of checking for quality, checking for expiration dates. So that's one less thing that they have to do. And it's just another way that we partner with each other, saving time, because we know that all nonprofits are short on time. So we can support each other that way.
Do you take cash donations?
We do, not in the box, but yes, we do accept them. We encourage anyone who would like to donate that way to drop it off in the mailbox at the church. They're just located right there on First Avenue. In fact, with all of the upgrades that they've done to First Avenue, you can just kind of pull into one of those parallel parking spaces near the sign, drop it off, and continue on your day. So yes, we do.
So one of the things that in our earlier conversation, you talked about, expanding your warehousing space and getting some shelving, some official shelving. Have you figured out how that's going to work and what the cost of that might be?
We are still getting the estimates on that based on the improvements being made on the lower level, because there's a talk of walls going down or being restructured. We're not sure about the shelving at this time. We're estimating anywhere around 500 to 800, but we also are trying to factor in availability of shelving and shelving materials, because materials have hit a backlog with some certain types of things. Anyone who's familiar with the building process right now can certainly attest to that. So we are estimating around that range though, Marie.
And David's daughter used to own a cupcake business that went belly up during COVID, but in the course of her experience working in the food service industry, she has well connected with how to find used shelving and food service equipment. So if you need any connections with that, she doesn't live here, but she still probably has some connections that could be useful for that if you're looking at wired shelving as opposed to constructed lumber.
I welcome either option. As you know, we're big into the restoration process and upcycling, because that's the heartbeat of what we believe our place is in this community. So I'd love to get more information from David's daughter.
So Rachel, can you put your contact information in the chat box? And I know right off the top, I can send you a URL to a company that my daughter used for various supplies.
Absolutely, I'm typing that in now.
My company, I actually might have a bunch of metal shelving we give to our clients, and then either they don't need them anymore and they give them back. So I might even have some in storage that I can help out with.
I would welcome looking at anything that you'd like to share as we continue to plan and dream out how we're going to move forward. Thank you, Lynn.
One of the other things that we are supposed to do when we have a district grant is, rather than simply give money, is to actually participate in a hands-on way. Anything come to mind that we may be able to help either with the compassion box itself or with the home?
Sure. I have several options for you depending on how hands-on you'd like to be. We have, like I said, we have quarterly food drives, which help replenish our stock room and also give toward our community partners stock rooms. So you could manage one of those. You could come and volunteer and just like have one to yourselves, depending on your comfort with social distancing when that is. We'll most likely have one in June. So I can keep you posted about that if you'd like it to. I know your meetings are on Zoom here. I don't know if they will be changing as statistics change, but if you're looking at something where you need it spread out, we can accommodate that because we've been doing that with our other food drives. And so that's one example here coming up. This late spring and into summer, we are planning on some upgrades to the exterior of the Compassion Home. We want to add some plantings in the back. We've considered a few garden boxes to bring in some herbs, seasonings, just a few vegetables, something that the families could use as outdoor therapy and just another echo of home life and what the advantages are of living in a home. So to continue echoing that message to them. But then in the fall, we will be having a fundraiser to bring awareness to our community. It is a version of a camp out. We are still getting a few details based on what we believe is respectful with our community. What I would say is our community getting back into the practice of being in groups, as well as just an awareness about everything that we've been through health-wise as a neighborhood. So this camp out will be a version of a homeless experience, so that we understand a little bit more about what our neighbors facing homelessness actually experience. But some of those details will be coming out this summer as we promote. It will be based at Northside Community Church, but I can give you some more information on that if you would like to sponsor a spot, or if one of you would like to be the representative of your Rotary in that effort and share what your experience is like. This will be around the weekend of October 10th, because that is the weekend where World Homelessness Day is recognized. So we want to represent that in our area and kind of pay homage to the families that we serve through the Compassion Home by showing them that we're willing to walk in your former shoes a little bit to better understand you and to kind of honor where you've come from.
Hey, Rachel, this is Matt. You're getting me in trouble by saying a representative. I see Marie staring at me through Zoom when you say that. So But all joking aside, I know Maria shared with you that food insecurity is the efforts that we want to put is where we want to put our efforts behind service wise. Yes. through this club. Do y'all prefer us to walk side by side with y'all on already scheduled activities and events that you've mentioned so far, or if we are able to host, if we could, sometimes we like to mix business with pleasure. We like to bring, we like to do a food drive and a recruitment event and a fun event all at the same time. That's just us, that we're doing it just for Rotary. Do y'all care about that? Do y'all want to be? Are we able to do something independent for y'all? I mean, we would of course love to do something with y'all at some point, but does that make sense? Do you?
Absolutely.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're doing everything with, if we did something, we did it above board. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We believe that we're way better together. And if you have a rhythm already of how you like to support community groups, we're up for that. We're ready to bring our instrument into the band. So we can certainly be a part of that. I mentioned those existing options just to kind of plant Absolutely. A seed that you can be aware of what we're doing, because I know there's a lot of people who are still kind of putting their hands up. They're not quite sure how things are going to go, but this gives you an idea of we know where we're going to go, or we at least have the plans, and we'll adapt as we need to based on how community plays out. So yeah, we would absolutely be open to that. As mentioned, the Pot of Gold 5K, again, it was put on hold for this year. We're actually just planning to do that next March, because we were waiting for restrictions to lift. And while there are some races that are coming back this year, and they're doing the hybrid model with virtual, the Pot of Gold 5K for us is less about fitness, and it's more about a fun celebration of what we can accomplish together. So while it does have that fitness element to it, and there are those that want to be timed, we bring in the food drive element to it. We're celebrating everyone's finish. So it sounds like we have very similar ideas in terms of how to work together and serve each other at the same time.
So Rachel,
Thank you.
Rotary is big on sustainability, and particularly on our international projects. How do you ensure the outcome of the project is going to be sustainable? So I guess my question is, what's your biggest need to ensure the sustainability of your program?
Most likely, I would say the Compassion Box program would be the volunteer team, which is deep as it stands. We do have a couple of spots that open up, but honestly, David, the beauty of the pandemic for us was that the Compassion Box provided a socially distant way for people to continue feeling connected to the community, where they can serve and they can leave, and they don't have to worry about exposures any more so than going to the store, but even less so because you're not interacting with anyone. It's a very respectful space in terms of our interaction. If someone is visiting the Compassion Box while we're restocking, we kind of honor that moment and let them grab what they need as they can. So our volunteer team is what keeps the Compassion Project running. And so whether I know food insecurity is your focus, so I bring up the Compassion Box first on that, but we also have volunteers that help us maintain the Compassion Homes itself. So because that allows the money that we do have to be used to keep the house maintained. because the Compassion Project began as a volunteer-powered organization, and we want to keep that as much as possible because we believe that is what actually keeps driving the good work to be done. So any volunteer opportunities, I would say, is my focus, and it's why I was brought on to create teams to create those channels so that the good work can keep happening. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I have no preconceived ideas. That's fine.
Hey, all right.
Rachel, Rachel, one more question.
Yeah,
and I know this is really specific, and I apologize, but I just want to make sure that I'm covering bases here.
Okay.
Seeing that y'all are part of the church, affiliated with the church. If we were to do something and there was it was a social aspect and there was adult beverages involved, is that a no-no for y'all, or do y'all care? All right.
So actually, one of our first fundraisers was at Oak City.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, so hard no on that. So yeah, that is fine. We can, of course, host it at the church, or on the church property, but that does no, we're fine with that.
Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
and you're a separate nonprofit than the church, so there is that arm's length distance.
So we're a ministerial arm of the church, in that we have shared space. We have shared vision, of course. I mean, the beginning of our organization began with the idea of how do we love our neighbors in an innovative way. And we were introduced to neighbors facing shelter insecurity through our work volunteering in the Raleigh Rescue Mission kitchen. So as we volunteered in the kitchen, and we were meeting single parent families who had nowhere to go that kept them going forward in their success that they had through that program, we realized there's a need for transitional housing. And so we started looking where we were in Nightdale, one of the most accessible places in the Triangle for a young family to get started and to grow. So we started at Maple, and it's led us to here.
And so our strategic plan going forward is to focus on food insecurity, but I think that it is logical that if you can take care of your home needs, you're going to have more money for food. So exactly. I don't see them as being in conflict in any way, quite frankly. And so as we're trying to figure out our way forward, Matt is leading the charge for doing quarterly food insecurity projects. And we haven't figured out what we're doing yet. So, we're kind of open. And we are.
Marie, you can see where my head's going. I'm trying to mix beer with fun, so that always brings a crowd. I'm just trying to put it out there. So
well, it's exactly what I was going to say next. Is we're going to mix fun, food, and fellowship all together with this, and to make it fun. So I think that probably what we'll do is we need to figure out where we are in our district grant, and then we also need to come up with projects that are meaningful for us as well as meaningful for you. We'll just keep the communication channels open. And if you can let us know when your quarterly events are coming up, and we will contact you prior to running an event, so we make sure that whatever it is that we've come up with aligns with your goals and your needs at that time. I think that we can build on this. And I know for certain that there are some of us that have talked more than once about community gardens as an example. So I think that, occasionally we could bring out our hammers and screwdrivers and help y'all with something tangible as it relates to the home as well. So I thank you very much for your presentation. Any other questions?
Yeah, Rachel, when are your planned events again, so that if we're planning something